Hey guys, this is Jeremy and Ron Gilland here from Speedwerx, and we are going to go over all of our Catalyst 858 turbo kits. We're going to go over all the individual parts and pieces. We're going to dive into some of the deeper, more popular questions that we get asked, and we're just going to try to show you them from the inside out. If you haven't noticed already, you'll see we have the mountain sled, which that was being ran pretty much all season last season, and then you'll see we have the ZR there, the trail sled. There's a small amount of them out there and running, but they are readily available now and performing amazingly well. So yeah, we're going to talk about Mountain 858 Catalyst boost. We're going to talk about Trail Sled Catalyst 858 boost setups as well. So we'll start off with the turbo, right? It's a turbo kit. Might as well start off with the turbo. We have our super efficient Zona turbo with low intake and charge temps. I would say, throughout the development of this whole deal, Ron, and the feedback that I've gotten from you and everything we've seen in the data, right, our charge temps are lower than what we had expected and anticipated in development.
Yes, they are for sure.
Yeah, so working really, really well, really happy with this piece. Tile wastegate, braided line going through there, all these bends and custom exhaust pieces, it's all done here and then held together with the V-bands and stuff. You can see it installed in the sled there, but top of the line parts here, super nice. We didn't cut any corners, and we didn't try saving any pennies on any of the parts or pieces associated with that, because that's the nut and bolts of the kit. After the turbo, we'll get into our charge boxes. This is the upper airbox plenum, and this is the lower. So when it's in the sled, it actually sits something like this. There's a silicone coupler that holds in here. This charge tube runs over then to the turbo. That's how that goes. All aluminum, hand fabricated, really nice, TIG welded. Bypass valve. When you're not on boost or you're in the lower RPM settings, this valve will actually open so it can draw air in and give you good drivability, good throttle response, and a better feel. And then as the boost comes in, that valve closes, and then we're just running on pure boost after that. This is where the stock idle speed controller bolts in as well. Just drops right in and bolts in right there. Then when you get down to our lower piece, these parts we're showing you, this is exactly how they come out of the box when you order it too. But this is the lower plenum. You can see where we have the auxiliary injectors already routed in, heat tape over the fuel line. Everything's held together with Oetiker clamps. You get some steering parts and whatnot held here. This is like second or third generation of this part. We did make some changes because we were getting tight on the steering rack or the steering arm down on the steering post. So there has been changes made there. It's a boost reference line that will end up going back to your auxiliary fuel controller. This is one of our, we'll get more into that later. And then this fuel line it plugs and plays, jumps right into your stock fuel line. And then Ron's holding the injector harness there as well.
All plug and play?
Yep, that would plug and play. They'd plug right in. Plug right into the injectors down there and there.
This intercepts the connector in the stock harness, and the power plugs right into an existing connector that's not being used by Articat. No wiring to cut.
I mentioned fuel controller there before and where that goes into. There's a reference line here, bottom one?
Yep.
Yeah, so the bottom one, or this one, is where a boost reference line goes. The other one just reads atmosphere. And again, it plugs right in, plug and play. On the mapping, I don't want to bore everybody to death, but and we'll get into it more with the Q&A section, but we're the only aftermarket company to date that we know of that is using auxiliary injectors. And then from there, the OEs, Ski-Doo and Polaris, they have auxiliary injectors or 4 injectors in their consumer available turbo applications for their 2-strokes as well. So kind of tells you the direction and the way you would want one and way to go. I don't even know how the other guys do it without it, but that's the direction we went, and that's how we do it with our setups. And then with this controller, it's our auxiliary injector controller, but it also has 2D compensation. So for temperature and
elevation,
we compensate for temperature and elevation with that as well. Oil line.
This intercepts, or you disconnect one line out of the bottom of the oil pump and then just loop it right back in. And then one clamp and you're good to go. So that's what's going to oil the turbo.
Right there.
Yeah,
This one, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
right in the center.
Yeah, goes to that one there.
So just like that.
Rest of the intake stuff, you'll see on the finished sled, but this is a silicone tube that goes in the turbo. This hose here then goes up and into the intake plenum. This is the hose for in here. These are the ones that go on the throttle bodies to the charge box, and then this is your charge tube, which goes from the plenum over to the turbo. So you do have to change out some of the stuff underneath on your hood. You can see this is where that intake tube for the turbo is going to go. This shelf gets replaced. There are 2 powder valves in here, so if your intake gets plugged, it can use them. And then it adds all of this frog skin area surface as well. And then this goes down on the bottom where your hood will latch on to the frame. Last but not least, clutching. The clutching is different from the mountain sled to the trail sled, just for the different applications. A mountain sled, deep lug track, that track's spinning pretty much all the time. Our trail sleds, they're hooked up really hard. Normally with a turbo application, they're going to be studded. But you have our a new weight that was designed just for these turbo kits in the Adapt primaries. There's dual adjustment points on them. You can do it right through the body, and we have it in the belly. These are going to come preset to you, how we want them set up for our kit. If you want to adjust it and you want to play with it, you can. 99% of the time, you're not going to have to make any changes or change anything there. H5 alloy primary spring, secondary spring, they are different from the trail sled to the mountain sled, and then one of our lightweight helixes as well. So I did miss these water lines. These are just the water lines we tie into the stock throttle body water lines, correct?
Yeah, the coolant lines.
Yeah, or stock coolant lines. And they come in, and that's what helps keep the turbo cooled down as well. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. The kit retails for $6,500. It adds 6.5 pounds of weight over stock. So, we get rid of some intake parts, we get rid of some airbox parts, and we get rid of the stock muffler, which is the biggest thing. When you're all said and done, when you put our kit on, it's going to weigh 6.5 pounds more than what it did stock. Great pieces made by great people. Think you guys are really going to like it. There's been a lot of excitement following this. This is just kind of redoing and recapping on some things that we did last year. Now we got about a year under our belt. So frequently asked questions to this stuff, just some things to go over. One of the newest ones is with all the 27s coming with power steering. We haven't had our hands on one yet, on a 27 yet, but knowing where it is, seeing the pictures, the CAD, all that stuff, all this stuff should be compatible. If not, there'll just be a different part number for the power steering unit, but the kit's still going to fit. We just don't have a 27 in our hands to know exactly, if or what's going to have to change. But if you got a power steering model coming, don't worry. We'll have parts and everything available for it. Whether or not if it's the same as this one or a little bit different, we'll have it. Why are there 2 different setups for low and high elevation? Well, the components in the kits are virtually identical. What's different is in the clutching, and there's some very small changes in the fuel mapping. We're going to bore you and get super detailed there, but there are some subtle changes in the programming.
So it adds, the reason for the weight or the clutching changes is because of the machine's ability to have more naturally aspirated power down low, and that does influence how the turbo reacts and the overall power level. So we do make changes for low elevation.
The more and more we get time on them, the closer they get to being exactly the same. But it takes years to perfect this stuff. What makes our kit like an OE style turbo, like Polaris or Skidoo? So the first thing is that we're using auxiliary injectors. No other aftermarket company that we are aware of is doing that. That's these 2 injectors here. So your 2 stock injectors in the back of the cylinder, they do all their normal fueling and everything else. And then we run these auxiliary ones based off of boost, and then we compensate for temperature and altitude with them as well in that control box. So
with 4 injectors, it works better because if you tried to do it with 2, the injectors are maxed out. So if you did need knock protection, there's nothing to put the fire out per se. So by adding the other injectors, we have full knock control and protection.
What does the kit weigh? Our turbo kit adds 6.5 pounds over stock. There's intake parts to remove, there's hood parts to remove, and the stock muffler. When you're all said and done bolting this up, you're adding 6.5 pounds of weight to your machine. Price. Why is your kit more expensive than some other ones on the market? Well, I hope that you guys can see the quality and the level of components that we're delivering here. And we know we have a bunch of customers out there who worked with us for years, and they choose us because they know when they get something from us, it's going to work and it's going to be right. But those are the 2 biggest reasons: is we don't cut corners, and we build these kits as if they're going on our own sledge. Which that ZR trail sled right here in front of us, that's Ron's personal snowmobile. This is how we would build the stuff if we wanted on our own sleds. So, and you go back to the 200 plus world and national championships that Speedwerx has been a part of or contributed to. And, Ron has a very long resume with his drag racing stuff too. We build stuff ready to compete at those levels, and that's our standard. And we've won a lot of races, a lot of competitions in using those standards, and that's what we stick to, and that's what we want to deliver to you guys as well.